Excellent. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talk to Danielle podcast. I am your host, Danielle C. Baker. And before we get started, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to whichever channel you're listening or watching from. And of course, this is season 4. So I do invite you to have a look at the 3 previous seasons. There might be some topics there that resonate with your reality today. They are timeless, and I am out of breath for some reason. They're timeless, so you can definitely go check them out. And we're going to jump right in today. I'm actually surprised after 4 years that I haven't had this topic yet. I think it's so important. We are representing the step parents today, and I think it's such an important, especially with all the different family portraits that we have. It's definitely an important topic to address. So I have the wonderful Karine Di Cesare with me. She has a wonderful book that just came out that talks about that story of a stepmom, and I think it's wonderful. But I'm going to put her on the spot. And before we get started, can you talk to us a little bit about what you do and how you got to where you are today?
Hi, everyone. So yes, I'm a proud stepmother to 2 stepchildren, Enrico and Carmela. And my step-parent journey has been an interesting one. It's been up and down and all over. And I've loved every minute of it. And I've written about it in my children's book called I Love You Like Lemonade. And yeah, it's just all about a journey that a little girl takes with her stepmother. They team up together to find Mellie's lost doll, and it's just a sweet story of bringing stepmom and stepdaughter together in a shared adventure of a lost toy. So yeah.
I love that. And it's so important because I think that's what I want to kind of jump in on the conversation is talking about when you first get introduced into the family, how do you, what would you be, what from your experience and uh, how you handled it as well is what is the
Mhm.
best approach when you're coming in knowing that not knowing exactly how the reactions are going to be, but to make sure that you're making everybody comfortable and yourself
Mhm.
comfortable. What would you recommend in terms of an approach coming in as a step parent?
Yes, I would definitely recommend a gentle approach, which was the case for us. So my husband wanted to wait, a good amount of time to know that this was going to be a serious relationship. He's very protective of our kids, and so he thought, okay, well, maybe we'll just go to a playground, on neutral space and do it that way. So there's no, memory of, mom who was in the house and now who's this new woman coming in. So it was definitely a very gentle approach. We waited a good chunk of time and we did it on neutral ground. So that would definitely be my recommendation.
I love that you brought that up because, yeah, and I'm working in the daycare side of things and with young
Hmm.
families, we see that a lot where it is so important to wait, like you said, when you know that the
Hmm.
relationship is serious, because children do get that connection with another adult very quickly. So if you're not
Hmm.
certain that this, if you're still not sure that it's going to be a long term,
Hmm.
so much better to not introduce right away so that the kids are
Exactly.
not suffering another loss. So we see that a lot where the kids just don't know. They don't
Yeah.
trust to connect with somebody if somebody comes and goes quickly, right? So I
Right.
like that approach that you're like, okay, now we know this is serious. Let's
Hmm.
get this on a neutral grounds and
Right.
not just kind of drop in the house and say
Right.
ta-da, so
Unexpectedly.
yeah. Oh, I love that. The other thing too that I really like, and that's kind of my own experience. I do talk
Mhm.
openly about my stepmom. This was back in the 70s when there was not really a word for it yet. It
Mhm.
was just, and it was a very Catholic area, so already divorce was already taboo, and now these
Mhm.
families were coming together, so nobody knew what to do with us. But I just remember uh, my stepmom coming up. My dad was there, of course, but she says, "I'm not here to replace your mom. Like I'm just here. I I want to make that clear. This isn't a replacement. I'm just here. I used to call her auntie when I was younger. She was very comfortable with that, and she says, I just want to make sure like I'm not replacing anybody, but I'm here for you." And it was so soothing for me as a child,
Hmm.
because they were together when I was just basically a baby. So when I was old enough to understand that she was part of the family in a way, it was very soothing. So you do talk about that aspect as well as of coming in saying, I'm not here to replace anybody. I'm just extra, the
Yeah.
bonus
Yeah, the
that
bonus
can help you.
parent. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so came into this journey as a supportive ally to my stepchildren. And my relationship with the both of them is very different. They are, two different children with two different needs and two different personalities. There is quite an age gap too between them.
Okay.
One is now 9 and the other is almost 14. So when I was first introduced to them, it was a 7-year-old and essentially a 2-year-old scenario, right? So very different in terms of development and what they where they were at in their child development, right? So yeah, it was really important that I honored what they wanted out of this relationship. So, for my stepson, we bonded over escape rooms. That's our thing. So we go
Oh,
out together, we do escape rooms. With my stepdaughter, it's all about shopping. So that's our thing. We go shopping quite frequently, and we also like to go see movies. And that's actually something I do with her. I also do it with my stepson too. So the three of us all go out together. So we take that time to bond, connect one on one, but also the three of us together. So it's a very beautiful thing.
yeah, it is. And I would say even for parents in general, uh,
Mhm.
just to take that time with you and have some fun and do things that you do enjoy
Mhm.
together. Because we're so programmed and scheduled and that we forget to have those moments. So even if you're not a stepmom or a stepdad, I
Mhm.
highly recommend to do that with your children or I love that. I think I'm going to put you on the spot, and if you're like,
Mhm.
let me know if you're not comfortable, but what would you recommend for people, especially to you don't you're not in a relationship with the other parent, but you are
Mhm.
part, especially when it comes to children, like you said, your partner is, he's very attached to his children and he's very protective of them. But
Mhm.
how would you kind of, what advice would you have for anybody listening who are kind of not sure how to approach that communication with the other parent as well?
So first off, first and foremost, it's always about the kids, right? The kids are number one. So you have to think about your decisions, your choices, your reactions in terms of how the kids will take it, right? So you kind of have to put aside your own needs and your own feelings because as a step parent, it can be tricky at times to navigate, but it's really about what will the children benefit from this in the long run, right? In terms of their development. So we do have a cordial relationship with between myself and their biological mother. And we do, you know, all come together for holidays, birthday
Yeah.
celebrations. While it can feel awkward at times, I have to just put that aside. It's
Yeah.
not about me, it's about the kids. And, you
Yeah.
know, they're going to remember these moments looking back, and I want them to look back on their childhood with fond memories, right? So,
Mhm. Yeah. No, that's such an important message for any type of situation. We're bringing it back to
mhm.
it's the kids and whatever it is not to take it personal.
Right, right.
It's not necessarily about you, whatever,
Mm,
if there's some friction. But yeah, just to stay in for the sake of the children, to be able to
yeah,
be there to support them. And
right.
especially if the relationship with the parents is not very friendly in the separation or
Hmm.
in the divorce, then
Hmm.
it makes it even tougher to take your place. But I think I want to jump right into that.
Okay.
You call it the outsider syndrome, um,
Right.
right? So as because you're coming in, uh,
Hmm.
I think I personally, I'm talking from my own person. I'm not saying it's like that for everybody, but it would be awkward in the beginning to say, okay, how do I show up? And you don't want to take on a role that is not true to you either. You don't want to lose
Mhm.
yourself in this. So what is your advice on that, or what's your take on that? In what I love how you call it the outsider syndrome, but can you share a little bit of
Mhm.
tips with people of how they can make sure that they take care of themselves and all of that as well?
So yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, the stepmom outsider syndrome. So it's that outside feeling of looking on the inside, kind of being out on the periphery of things. So, it can come up in the little things, like, when the kids say, "Hey, Dad, remember that time you, Mom, and I went camping?" Or, something funny happened with our youngest. She did or said something, and then that's the moment that my spouse shares with his ex and the kids. So it's a little bit like feeling like, oh, I'm here on the outside. I didn't get to have that experience with them. But you
Yeah.
know what? You build new experiences. And so if you can just be a big, strong support in their lives, and as we enter these tricky teenage years, I think it's going to be more important now than ever. And you know, where can I help? I can help with English homework. I can help with French homework. I can help with some things that maybe their other parents can't help so much with because my husband's the athletic mathematician. So so yeah, it's just finding those niches where you can help and explore those interests and hobbies and passions together, because I'm sure there's some common ground that you can find.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, to make your own moments so that they have some memories
Mhm.
there as well. What would you recommend in order to be able to take time for yourself and reflect and not keep doing what you like? You spend a
Mhm.
lot of energy with the family, but you also need that
Right.
time for yourself and with your partner. Of course, you need to have that time
Mhm.
as well. So what are your recommendations for that as well, or what would you like to share on that?
Yeah, so I would say, to be open and honest with your partner about your need for me time, right? And I think regardless of whether you're a step parent or a parent, you need that to carve out that time for yourself to be outside of that family dynamic. So I would suggest to build on those interests so you don't lose that sense of self and who you are. And I found that through my writing journey and writing
Mm,
my children's books. So, I've pursued workshops on the weekends to do that, and I do take the time to work on my craft. So that's
yeah,
me time, and I honor that, and I'm so thankful I have a partner who honors that with me too. So and the
definitely.
children see that. They see, oh wow, Karine has pursued something, a dream that came true in writing a book, and they see that it wasn't always an uphill, like it was an uphill climb. There it was, it could be up and down, and there were some bumps in the road, you could say. And so yeah, it's not always a straight path to where you want to go, and that's just a lesson learned for them to see, you know, in terms of the courage you need and the resilience you need in pursuing your dreams. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I was actually going to mention that role model. You're showing them through actions and also as a couple coming together with the support that
Mhm.
you got through the journey. And the kids see that, so then they can know what to look for uh,
Mhm.
in terms of a supportive relationship later on. So it's beautiful altogether. Let's talk about your book. I'm just so excited. I love it. So yeah, you could talk about how it started, what made you think about it, or anything. I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so my children's book is called I Love You Like Lemonade, and it's geared for children between the ages of 4 and 8. And it's the story of a young girl who loses her favorite doll and the journey she takes with her stepmother to find her. So it starts off with the loss of the doll. Where is she? And together they form this pact because dad is busy, has to take her brother to soccer practice, and so who steps up and saves the day? It's her stepmother. So they look inside the house, they tear it upside down, they can't find the doll, and then Melly remembers, oh, maybe we left her at the grocery store, and so together they journey to the grocery store, and nope, no luck there. And it's this a story of try again, you might fail the first time, try and fail again, and then succeed, in the end, when you pursue, and eventually you'll find your way. So and they found her doll in the end. So yeah, it's
I
just a
love
sweet story of family coming together, and then just
it.
having Melly figure things out on her own too. Like
Yeah,
stepmom's there in that support role. I can help you. I can drive you to the store. But
yeah.
she goes up to the customer service desk and asks, she takes the reins and says, "Have you seen the doll?" So really, it is all about children finding their way too. So yeah.
I love that. And that represents it represents the ally you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
earlier, that you're there
Mm-hmm.
to support. It is you can go and ask him right here for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I love
Mm-hmm.
that. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
any plans for the book? I know our publisher always says the real work happens once you have the book in your hand. But
Right,
do you have
exactly.
anything planned with the book or anything coming up?
Yeah, so my goal is to get into schools. So I will be at my stepdaughter's school, Carmela's school, next week, actually. So I'll be kind of piloting the book with the children in her classroom and see what kind of feedback I get. But I did actually already introduced the book to my Girl Guides group, and they loved it. So I got some rave reviews from the little girls, and they were just on edge, on the edge of their seats, like, oh, what's going to happen? They were,
Right.
worried about the doll, but in the end, everything all worked out. And that's another point I wanted to mention too. So not only have I pursued my writing and taking time to go to those workshops, but I've also become a Girl Guide leader. And I did that with my stepdaughter, and she didn't take to it. And you know what? That's okay. Sometimes you try to force a bond to do something, and it just isn't going to be the thing that,
Right.
bonds you. So, and I totally respected that. And I thought, well, you know what? I still enjoyed doing it. So I kept going. And I'm still part of a group. And yeah, so
I love
like I
that.
said,
It
it's
ties
all
it.
about doing your thing and following what feels right for you.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. It ties it all in. It's, trying to
Hmm.
find things to do together. Okay, that one didn't work, but you know what? I like it. So
Try something else.
I'm still
Something will
me.
stick.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's wonderful. And how can people get your book? What's the best way to get a hold of your book? Or maybe to see if you have anything coming up,
Hmm.
if they can follow you, if you want to share, right? If you
Yeah,
don't want to share.
so my book is available on Amazon. So if you look for I Love You Like Lemonade, you'll find it there. And eventually I'm hoping to get it into Indigo. There's just a bit of a lag there, but it will eventually be at Indigo as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
have a
great.
website too, so storiesforkids.ca if you'd like to
Oh,
look
okay.
at my writing journey. Mhm.
That's awesome. And I'll put the link in the description so people can have a look at it. They can have a look at the website. I think watching your journey would be very good to to have a look. And I love that. There's so much more I'd like to ask, but we're gonna wrap up. And of course, there's that question I ask at the end of every interview, and I'm sure you're gonna want to play along. But what do you want to be when you grow up?
Questions so far. Just given, you have to have a childlike spirit to write children's books. So I'm just like an adult who's never really grown up. But I would say, so I've done the writing thing, so part of that, but what I would say is I've opened up a yoga studio for children. So that would be my ultimate dream. And I think I would combine not only yoga, because for yoga you have to be very quiet and centered. And so I think I'd start off with some sort of dance and movement for the children so they can let it all out, let all your wiggles out, and then continue that. And even maybe, why not do a reading circle too?
I love that. I love reading circles. They're so much fun. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I really do appreciate it. And anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome
So
to
much.
thank you so much. And for everybody watching, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to whichever channel you're listening or watching from. Don't forget to go check out Karine's book as well and her website to see what her author journey was like. And until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and we'll talk soon.